Hello, chess friends. I'm back with your favorite section of the game, and that is the move of the day. So, in today's move of the day, we're gonna have a look at two chess giants, the game of two chess giants. Anatoly Karpov, the great Anatoly Karpov, who was the world champion at this when the game was played in 1977, and he was playing against Mark Taimanov. So, Mark Taimanov, if you remember, was one of the players who fought against Bobby Fischer, the great Robert James Fischer, and he had a really hard time after losing that candidates match. But still here is one of his beautiful and brilliant game, and so basically it tells us that even after 1971 he was pretty good at it. So let's have a look at this excellent chess game. So in this position it was black to move, it was Taimanov's move, and Taimanov played a brilliant move which Karpov did not even calculate. It is actually very tough to calculate such kind of moves. So like always, go ahead and put yourself in the shoes of Mark Taimanov and try to defeat a world champion Anatoly Karpov, who was the world champion at that point, 1977. All right, so basically, the great Anatoly Karpov, he was a positional genius, did not lose too many games in his career, specifically at during the time when he was world champion. And even rare was Karpov losing a game with the white pieces. Now that is something which very rarely happens. It's something similar to Magnus Carlsen. Magnus Carlsen nowadays, I'm talking about in classical chess, loses very few amount of chess games. The same was with Karpov. Karpov was really at his peak, and there's a story behind it, of course. Fischer left the chess world, and everyone was calling Karpov as a paper champion. He didn't really earn the the title of the champion. He was like a paper crowned champion, not a real champion, and that is why Karpov wanted to prove himself. So he basically went to every tournament and played absolutely phenomenal chess. He won many games with white. He won black with black as well and drew as well. But him losing was something which is very rare. Karpov losing a game was very rare at that point during his peak. Of course, things changed when Gary Kasparov entered the chess scene. But here is a brilliant game by Mark Taimanov where he actually defeated Karpov. So in this position, Black went on to play a brilliant move, Knight to G3, check, and this is absolutely winning at the moment. There's nothing White can do. For example, let's look at the weaker continuation. Queen takes g3. Now what will happen if the queen captures? Well, basically Karpov in this position was counting on his pawn. He thought that he has got everything protected, and he has a passed pawn which will promote or create some real troubles for black. So basically Karpov was already considering to go home and have lunch, and what he was already thinking what he should have for lunch. But Mark Taimanov surprised him here with the move knight to g3 and said, not so quickly, you still have to deal with the game over here, and I'm not a push around. So knight g3 check. Let's have a look at this. The king cannot step to the g1 square thanks to the queen on d4, who is an absolute monster. Now queen takes g3 can be answered with the move rook takes on b1. Of course the queen was defending the rook, now it's not, so we capture the rook. Now the threat is simply to capture the bishop. That would come with a checkmate. Also something like h3 is not really working because we take the bishop, king h2 and queen g1 is a mate. So he has to play queen f3, defending the bishop. And here comes the point. This pawn might not go forward, but this pawn will definitely go forward. So the move that black is going to play here is e4. Now the queen has to move. We play queen d2. That's a queen sacrifice. We offer our queen sacrifice. If he takes, then obviously the game would be directly over after the move rook takes f1. So he cannot capture our queen. He plays g3, protecting his own queen. Now we play e3, king to g1, and here comes another beautiful point, e2, again hanging the queen. Of course the queen cannot be captured because there is a huge threat of e equals to f1, e into f1 equals to queen, not queen, and that will be totally winning. So going back, after the move knight to g3, basically he has to take with the pawn, and as most of you would say, why not? Why should we not capture with the pawn? In this case, there's nothing happening on the king side, and we are definitely keeping hold of the rook. But here is what Karpov missed, and here is what most people would absolutely miss. The brilliant move that black is going to play here is rook to h8. So let me just go through it. Rook to h8 comes with a brilliant threat of, rook to a8 comes with a brilliant threat of rook h8 with an unstoppable mate on the h file. You can say this is a perfect example of line clearance. Basically, knight to g3 was a line clearance move, It deflected the pawn, and the queen controls the g1 square. Rook is coming on h8 square. There is no way you can stop. You can try to sacrifice your queen, but that's not going to stop what's going to happen. And in fact, it's such kind of moves that is very, very difficult to see. There is no reasonable defense against such a threat, and deadly retreats are something that are very difficult to see in chess, even for a player like Karpov. Karpov has throughout his career made retreating moves and won the games. Still, this kind of moves are difficult for him to see as well. So here is a star move of the day. The move of the day: knight to g3, followed by the excellent continuation h g3, rook to a8. Now that is something you want to look forward for. So that's a cool way of defeating the world champion at that point. So excellent game by Mark Taimanov. So he definitely had more than just music at that point. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. Until next time, see you.